6, impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state-regulated air emissions source.
No.
7, impact on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in the loss of flora or fauna.
No.
8, impact on agricultural resources. Would this impact that?
No.
9, aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to current land use patterns.
No.
10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource. I would say that most likely the answer to this would be an obvious yes, because it's a historic district. And then we would need to just roll through the sub-questions here, which are subparts A through E, Romanet 3. So going through those sub-questions, 10A, the proposed action may occur wholly or partially within or substantially contiguous to any buildings, archaeological sites, or districts which is listed on the National or State Register of Historical Places. All right, I won't read the rest of that because it's really long. The question is, would this have an impact of significance environmentally on the project? And of course, what we're doing here is replacing our currently existing historic preservation law with a very similar law from a review standpoint, except that we're now making the advisory committee into an independent commission, is the main push of this. So I would say that that's most likely a no, but if anyone has any other thoughts on that. B, the proposed action may occur wholly or partially within, substantially contiguous to, an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites. Again, we're talking about impacts here. The board has any thoughts there? No or small? C, the proposed action may occur wholly or partially within or substantially contiguous to an archaeological site not included on the New York SHPO inventory. I think that would also be a no. D, other impacts, if anyone can think of anything that we haven't already considered environmentally. And if none, then we don't need to do anything with D. And we haven't answered, you'll say that E, it requires if you've answered a moderate to large impact may occur, which we've said no to all those previous ones. So moving on to question 11, impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or reduction of an open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan.
No.
12, impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area. 13, impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. 14, impact on energy. It may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy.
No.
Impact on noise, odor, and light.
No.
Impact on human health.
No.
Consistency with community plans. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. And then the last final question, consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character.
No.
All right. So, having gone through part 2, having answered all those questions except for one no, and the one that we did answer yes, we went through the subpart questions and answered no to all of those. You also have in that packet that I handed you the resolution itself. The resolution would repeal and replace Chapter 126 of the Village Code entitled Historic Preservation, and you'll see that the resolution just identifies the basic information that we've had the public hearing initially scheduled in December. It was continued to February 4th. It was then continued again to today. And that the board has now considered the environmental impact of the proposed action. And then we would need a motion to pass the resolution as presented.
I motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Do we need to read it?
You've got a written copy. I think, again, just motion to pass it as presented, and as presented, it's right there in front of you. I mean, we could read it out loud if you want to.
I will second that motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Take a vote. All right. Yes. Nate, is this local law two?
There might be three.
Yeah, well, okay,
We got a bunch of stuff to submit.
Charles?
I vote yes.
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Yes.
Now we're in.
And that's it.
So now we need to appoint the commission. You have the names? I have them somewhere.
Yes.
I had them ready back in December. So, I'd like to appoint Nadine Bigsby as the chair of the OHPC. Do any of you all separately?
I think you could do it together or separately. I mean, if you anticipate people to object to any one or more of them, then doing them separately would make sense.
I don't. And then I would like to appoint James Overheiser to the OHPC.
Spell it.
Overheiser. And Tamara Gates. Christina Knickerbocker. And Brian Kennedy. So do I have a second for that motion?
A second.
Okay. We'll have a vote?
Yes.
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 Congratulations.
So that's done.
Okay.
When's the first meeting?
Well, when we meet the first Thursday of every month and until we get told by the Secretary of State of New York that we become
Great.
a OHBC, will be first Thursday. And one of these
Yeah.
ones.
We have to follow the law and all that.
In a couple weeks, it doesn't take long.
All right, so, since that's over, does anybody have any public comment?
No.
For the regular meeting?
I've already been through it.
Mr. Mayor, do you want to do the staggered,
It's not, so we
the
can-
staggered terms? Do you want to do that later, or how do you want to do that with the appointment?
Well, that's a good point, actually.
Right.
Thank you for bringing it up. You should identify who's serving which terms.
Right,
I can, I'll tell you right now.
okay,
You can write the numbers next to on the envelope.
sounds good.
So I'll put Tamara Gate, one member has to end at, so everybody understands this is, so we all don't have our terms ending and leave at the same time, they have to be staggered. So Tamara Gates, 2019, Christina Knickerbocker, 2020, me, Bigsby, 2021, James Overheiser, 2022, and Brian Kennedy, 2023.
So I think they're all supposed to just be three-year terms, though.
When they, well, the way the law says, it says here, the terms of the remaining voting members shall be fixed so that 2 terms shall expire at the end of each calendar year afterwards. So that 2 terms, did I get that wrong?
Yeah, so it'd be
Yeah,
the first member serves for the rest of this official year, then the
19.
next 2 serve until the end of the next year after this.
So that would be, Christina and, yeah, me, 2020.
One for the first.
Yeah, one
2020,
for the
and
first
then,
official year.
yeah, and then Jim and Brian, 2021. Sorry, I
So
got it.
Christina's 2019.
No, Tamara.
Tamara's 2019. You-
Sorry.
Okay,
I think we got that right the second time.
thank you.
Jim and Chris is 2020.
We're doing Brian.
Okay,
Maybe.
19, okay.
Okay. That'll work.
start with public comment. Someone has something to say now.
All right, public comment, and no, you're not on the agenda, so you can do yours during that if you want.
It's up to you, however you want.
Yeah, if you don't want to hang around, it's fine.
Go for the gusto. Go for the gusto.
So may I?
Does anybody else have any other public comment?
Is this about OHPC or something?
No,
In
it's
general.
about anything.
Anything.
Okay, so Leanne, I guess you're up.
Okay. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Leanne Tenney, I'm starting economic development planning for Tioga County.
I did say something. This is my total surprise.
Yep. So, let's see how many I have. So I'm here to talk about the proposed Owego Gardens 2 project. If you recall, what we're looking at, oops, I do have more here, if anybody wants to know. So I'd like to present Owego Gardens 2 has approached the IDA and requested the pilot for this proposed project out at Belleville Lockwood Lane. This project is a little bit different from Owego Gardens 1 in that it would be actually 93 units, and it would be a working family housing project that would include an apartment complex with 62 units, exactly the same as was already there with Owego Gardens 1, as well as a series of townhouses, a group of townhouses. And I too am glad I was here to hear the presentation by the young people, because they also recognize that there's a need for working family housing in the village because they're building a soup kitchen. And they talked about the poverty rate within the village. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not going to read this all to you, but I've referenced in here 3 studies that indicate that there is a need and desire for low to moderate working family housing within the county, very specifically within the village. This particular project, total construction would be a $24 million project. And what we're anticipating as far as what's being requested of the pilot would be sales tax exemption, and based on the anticipated tax items, we're looking at a local portion of $262,097 for sales tax exemption, as well mortgage recording tax in the amount of $174,517. So the estimated local sales tax and mortgage recording tax savings for the project would be $436,614. Sales tax and mortgage tax. As you're already aware, there isn't a huge employment job creator impact with this type of a project. We're looking at creating only 2 jobs as a result of it. So the impact as far as new jobs is minimal, with the exception of the construction jobs. They are anticipating 100 construction jobs as a result of the project, and that does have an indirect result of creating another 37 jobs in Tioga County as a result of that. I also talk a little bit about what you can anticipate with a housing project, the spin-off consumer spending. There is a study done, it's old now, but it hasn't been updated lately. But there is a study that was from, what was the year that was done? 2001. Study done on anticipated spin-off, so these numbers are probably low if anything else. Adding anticipated 140 new residents to the area could result in additional consumer spending in the range of $383 to $1.1 million as a result of bringing new people into the downtown, living in the downtown. The other impact that I think is relevant for the village is the impact on the sewer revenue. This would be 93 units, and with the calculated sewer rate of 141 EDU plus a capital improvement fee. It would have an annual impact to the sewer revenue in the amount of $54,312 if you're adding to the, adding users and adding revenue related to the sewer line use.
Ian, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Is the capital improvement fee $5? Is that what our capital improvement fee is for EDUs?
I believe it was $750 a month, wasn't it?
All right, so it'll be a greater impact than that then.
So I'm just checking to see if there's something I don't understand. Okay.
750? We'll revise that.
It used to be $5.
Okay, but either way, that's not some special deal or anything, that's
No,
just,
no,
that's just
no, that's
what
just-
you,
Yep.
just, thank you,
Yep.
back to you.
The school district impact, I know that has been a question when you're bringing family housing in, what the impact of the school would be. And based on 93 units, the company is anticipating 140 residents. Of those 140 residents, 93 of them were considered to be head of household. The remaining 47, we took the Census Bureau percentages that you again anticipate for 5 to 9-year-olds, 10 to 14-year-olds, and 15 to 19-year-olds. And you can see that when we're all said and done, it looks like an impact of roughly 9 new students with this type of a project. And that's assuming that nobody moving into the residence will already be a student of Owego Appalachian. So I think that 9 potential new students is in itself is high as well. Is that we can probably assume that some people from the village will be moving from within the village to the new project. So again, that's probably a high number. Let me talk about the payment in lieu of tax that's being proposed, and what's been proposed is a set schedule similar to what Owego Gardens 1 has, and that would be to start off at $500 per unit, 93 units, with a 2% escalator associated with that thereafter for a 30-year term. The reason we're looking for the 30-year term is, again, it's coterminous with the financing. They're doing a 30-year mortgage. So to be able to offer a set scheduled amount where they are aware of what the payment will be each year is helpful for the financing that home leasing is going to be looking to secure. So based on that, you can see the schedule in here on page 9. It shows what would the estimated real property tax be if there were no pilot in place, what the proposed pilot payment would be, and then the far right column shows the amount of the real property tax abatement over the 30-year period. So over 30 years, they're looking at roughly $4.9 million in real property tax abatement over 30 years. The last page, because I know this is of interest to everybody, is a breakdown of what each of the taxing entities can anticipate for their portion of that 46.5 in the first year and thereafter. You can see that the village over the 30 years would receive an additional $600,000 on that property that is currently tax exempt. So that's the summary, and then I have the justification for the deviation, which talks about financial viability. We need to have the 3 impacted issues when you're putting a project like this together: insurance, taxes, and utilities. So if we can have some sort of level of control over at least one of those, being the taxes, it allows for a pro forma that is more likely to be approved by the financing entities. Right now, the IDA owns the property. There are no real property taxes being collected on it at this time. The 93 new units would have an impact on local businesses. We all know that there's a need for apartments. They're currently lacking. It's been outlined in several studies, as I mentioned before. Project will provide resilient and sustainable housing choices for all income levels. It is important to attract new residents to our downtown. Project will provide housing options that are situated outside the flood zone. And again, will generate $54,000 annually in sewer revenue for the village. It is a $24 million project, and it's capital investment, 2 full-time jobs. Minimal impact to spin off employment other than the 100 construction jobs. 140 residents in the village will create an economic stimulation. Hard to say what those numbers will be, but this will give you a general idea. 383,000 to 1.1 million. IDA is looking at offering the local sales tax, mortgage recording tax, and real property tax savings over 30 years. So this is what's been proposed. It's a summary of it. I'm here tonight to let you know that, number one, the public hearing has been scheduled, and it will be Wednesday, February 27th at 6 o'clock and be held in Hubbard. The IDA board will hear public comments on the project at that time. And I'm here tonight to ask this board for your consideration if you feel that you would support this project, if you would provide a letter of support to the IDA board. That would be appreciated.
What would be the titles or duties of these two full-time employees?
So it'll be a manager of the site, general manager, and then a maintenance person.
And they're all just certain hours of the day, or
Yeah, I don't imagine that they'll be there.
how does
all
that
the
work
time.
at the first one?
Weaver Gardens 1, they do have an on-site manager there. I'm not aware of what her hours are, and they do have an on-site maintenance person. I suspect that because they're both, they'll probably just use those two to oversee Weaver Gardens 2 as well, I would guess. They haven't told me that, but I gotta believe that that's probably what they'll do.
And one maintenance person to take care of all of those?
Well, they're saying they're gonna hire another one, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Or maybe it takes too many people to change the light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Okay, they presented this to us back in spring. And one of the questions at that time was the water drainage problems there on that hillside. Have they done anything to remedy that?
Yeah, actually they have. And we've been working very closely with Mr. Kemmerling, who was, impacted by the drainage. To give you an idea what they had done previously is when they built a Weaver Gardens 1, they put a swale or ditch in that ran across the property. It ran across and it dumped into that creek that's right there next to Mr. Kemmerling. So what happened is all that water was coming down off the hill, dropping into that, not just over here, but entirely down the hill, dropping into
Yeah.
the swale. And so what they've done is they've filled that swale in, and they've rerouted drainage to go into that retention pond that's in the front of the property. And then the IDA was going to riprap that creek bed that had been impacted. But we had Soil and Water out there to take, Wendy Walsh and Soil and Water went out to take a look at it, and she said, you don't want to do that. Don't put riprap in there, it's not the solution. What she's requested and home leasing engineers are going to do is they're looking at the SWIP, or the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, that encompasses the entire site. The first SWIP was just a Weaver Gardens 1, but this SWIP will have to be prepared by the engineers to encompass both the Weaver Gardens 1 and the proposed development on 2, where they will take a look at not like segmenting drainage there, but doing it all as one big picture. So they're aware of the situation, they feel that they have a way to resolve it and use better use of the retention pond that's already anticipated to be that's already on the site, so.
How would they do research in that? Because in my understanding, the only way to test that is wait for a great deluge. So
Well,
how would,
that's up to
work
them.
on paper?
Yeah, and that's up to the engineers, and they have hydrology engineers that are supposed to know these things, and we have to rely on their expertise, because there is no way to know until you actually build it. As we found with the first one, which we had resolved.
And I hope they're also addressing the other side of that property, which has a smaller little creek-type stream,
Yes.
which goes down into Mr. O'Connell's house and yard.
Yep,
so-
that's on home leasing, we've had conversations with them, and yep, that part they're aware of, and they know highway's not going to fix that, that's on their property, they're going to have to fix that.
But-
So they haven't
But
been-
stuff from the top will come down
Down there.
over there onto that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, having, you're plowing and having a lot of water drain down that new road you're putting in.
My question, in the end, will the village own this road?
Yes,
Want to file it, maintain it?
it will be built to village standards. Yes. So this will be, as I said, 62 units in an apartment building type setting, and then townhouses. There'll be 7 4-unit townhouses and 1 3-unit townhouse. 1, 2, and 3 bedroom homes. Or apartment homes.
And Mayor, to your question, I think when the site plan and there was a subdivision, I think, but when all the planning and zoning approvals were done, they said that they were going to be, and presented plans showing that it would be built in accordance with the village's requirements for the road. I know the grade was somewhat of question, but you indicated that it actually would be acceptable.
Actually, the grade they came in with was a little less than what we discussed when we were, so they're good to go on that.
So what are you asking us tonight?
I am asking this board to take an action to hopefully support this project and provide a letter to the IDA indicating your support of the project.
Can we percolate this a little bit, and not do this this evening?
When's your public hearing?
The public hearing is the 27th, and
That's next
the...
Wednesday,
Yeah,
Next Wednesday.
next Wednesday.
not this Wednesday.
And the IDA will meet on the first Wednesday in March, which I believe is the 6th of March. Is that right? The
Do you
6th?
need the letter for the hearing or the IDA meeting?
IDA meeting.
And I would prefer we have a chance to sniff at this a little bit. I don't like to get some information and do that. I would prefer
I understand.
to sniff at it. We certainly would have the opportunity to take an action before your IDA meeting at our next meeting.
The one,
My
when
opinion.
do you meet in March?
First Monday. Before the first one. But that's just my opinion.
What's the real thing?
And whether they went to the next meeting, give a little more insight into this.
Okay.
So in the meantime, if you have any questions as you're going through it, I know you will, but if you have
Yeah.
any questions as you're going through it, just let me know. I'm
You don't take my calls.
my cell phone number. So yeah, just let me know, and I'm happy to either come back at your meeting in March and talk to you some more, or check you on the phone, whatever you'd like to do is.
Okay, thank you.
And I have 2 other quick questions. Well, not quick. One is, do you have on the agenda that you're setting a public hearing for the MJ's parcel rezone? Is that on the agenda? It's supposed to be a,
I mean,
no?
Has it cleared
yeah, we can.
anything?
Well, the only thing to clear, I think, was there are two things, right? The planning board, which
We cleared
would
it.
meet as,
We met, we voted, we cleared it.
okay, so the planning board's done it, and then has it been referred for 239 yet?
Yes,
Okay.
239 came back with a yes, as long as they adhere to DOT's suggestions.
Okay.
And
So we can
I
schedule
haven't
a
heard
public
back
hearing.
from DOT. I called DOT about it, 'cause they need to meet me over there. Discuss some things. I think they're being a little unreasonable, so. But you can set the public hearing.
Yeah, and to be clear, your action to rezone it certainly is not contingent on DOT.
Right.
That's more site-specific issues, not the concept of zoning itself. So if you want to schedule the public hearing tonight for the March 4th meeting, I think we could, and then I'll just need to get Rusty not Rusty, Rod, the local law to post online and otherwise get the public hearing notice out.
make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second, no, I won't.
Watch papers.
Trying to create-
Consider.
And a vote for that?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's it. Next meeting.
And the last thing, I would, with the downtown revitalization initiative, things are moving very quickly right now. We are getting really down to the wire. We have to have a final report into the state by mid-March. It's only a couple weeks away. And so we have one project that's been proposed, and that was for reuse of the police station, for that to be made into higher-end apartments. And we have an interested developer to take that on. So in order for that to happen, obviously, some decisions would have to be made by this board. You know, would this board be open to selling the police station? If that were the case, where would you locate your police and your court? So there have been a few suggestions thrown out there, and perhaps cohabitating in the central fire station as a possibility. What I'm here to ask is, does that sound like something that you would be interested in pursuing? And if that's the case, we need to act pretty quickly and set up a meeting of all parties, whoever you would like to have it, sitting at the table to discuss it. If it doesn't seem like something that you're really willing to pursue or interested in pursuing, we need to know that too right away, because there are certainly a number of other projects that would be very interested in the funding that might be tied up with this project if we were to go that way with it. So I need some sort of sense from the board if this is something that you would like to continue a conversation on, or if it's off the table, that's fine. I just need to know which way this looks like it might go. Because we have a very short window right now to pull it together.
My only concern is we don't sell off the building and not have somewhere for our police and court.
Right, so I think
Yeah,
what we're
right, situated.
anticipating that there would be DRI money available to make the renovations, upgrades to Central Firehouse to allow for that. Would be like part of the packaging.
So then, one of the concerns that just jumps to my mind, I know when the architects were presenting various options for the new combo clerk highway building, or DPW building, it was explored to include the court and the police within that same building. I think Rusty was really keen on doing that, but the general statement from the architects was that the upgrades and requirements for security and things like that would have made that pretty cost prohibitive. So, while the board, you might express some interest tonight, but I would strongly encourage in, looping in the architects, engineers for a cost estimate as to what that would actually look like, because I don't know how much it would actually be, but I imagine there would be some significant costs to make that building compliant to the modern requirements for security.
Sure. An elevator
Well,
would go in and.
Yeah, there's a lot
As
of
far as building
requirements.
on this property you're talking about?
No,
just
for
in
the
general.
station.
If you
And
move the
fire
court,
station.
there's a lot of requirements.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Rusty?
I know that it was spoken to put those on the two upper floors of the fire station. There's not nearly enough room to put those things on the two upper floors of the fire station. So that particular plan could not work. Then you'd be talking, and also it's not very wieldy to put police on a second floor. If one tried to retrofit the fire station and put the police on the first floor, now we're in the floodplain and we have that problem. It's not that it couldn't be done, but all those things. It's not that it can't be done, it can't be done as fast as the DRI. Even if we wanted to do it, it can't be done as fast as the DRI would like to do it. I can't imagine that we can.
You do have another building that's going to be vacated. I don't know what your plans are for where the clerk is located now.
That also wouldn't be big enough for a police station. You're familiar with the clerk's office?
Clerk's office.
I
How
can't
about court?
No, I wasn't here.
The court?
I think it'd be too small for the court, to be honest with you, that's my opinion. I just don't think it'll go.
And the time they're talking about this building over here, like 2023.
For this building. So that, doing something
the
at
clerk
this
is
site
gonna
is
be-
off the table.
clerk is-
Well, I'm saying that the
I
clerk
thought
would
the
vacate
DRI
that
already
building.
did that off.
That's what I'm saying, that's off the table, it would not be here, yeah.
Right, the DRI is looking to take the police station over within the next year. That would require, and let's say that we could put him in the clerk's office, the clerk's not leaving that office until 2023.
Well, I
At the
feel like
earliest.
there's, just to say, you know, no, we can't do it. You know, there might be some other possibilities that we're not considering right now. And I hate to take this really once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to improve municipal buildings. You could get your roof fixed on the central firehouse. You could not have to deal with the improvements that are coming for the police station, because
Find us some money.
I've got $10 million!
Fix the roof. You're talking about fixing us, find us some money for fire station, for police station, find us some money for those things and
Well,
we'll
I have
talk.
to say, it's entirely up, obviously, it's entirely up to you guys. We're just throwing out the scenarios, the possibilities. If there does not seem to be an appetite for it, we'll drop it back in. I mean,
I don't know if it's a lack
It's up to you
of
guys.
appetite or just,
One question I have too is, in selling, village property, don't we have to put that up to bid? So that other people are available to
No,
give us a price also?
when you sell the property, you have to sell it for fair market value. And I mean, the clearest indication of fair market value is put